Week 5 preview. We're going to talk about the Bucs-Seahawks, Commanders, Chargers, and more. Welcome to a special Friday edition of the Schatz and Tanier NFL podcast from FTN Fantasy. It is October 3rd, 2025. I'm Aaron Schatz, the DVOA guy from FTN Fantasy, and he is Mike Tanier. You know him from his Substack, The Two Deep Zone, at miketanier.substack.com. We were off yesterday, so I could do Yom Kippur. So that means we're doing our show today, which means that we have a game yesterday to talk about, not just preview the rest of week 5. So we can talk a little bit about San Francisco 26, Los Angeles Rams 23 in overtime. Now, Mike asked me about the post-game win expectancy, and the honest truth is that I generally don't run the Thursday games on their own. I wait and I run everything on Sunday night, so I don't really have a post-game win expectancy. But my guess is that the Rams would be above 50%, because the Rams had 7.1 yards per play.
Wow.
Compared to the 49ers with 4.9 yards per play.
Mm-hmm.
And there were 2 fumbles, and obviously the 49ers recovered both of them, one of which was a bad pitch, which is normally recovered by the offense.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I'd say is there was a lot of sort of joking online in the first quarter about a Mac Jones, Brock Purdy controversy.
Oh, not in the first quarter. Check your local listings. It's happening right now.
Because to me, it's very clear. Purdy, despite the fact that Purdy is 1-1 and Mac Jones is 3-0, Purdy has been better. And you don't judge Brock Purdy based on 2 games from this year. You judge him based on everything he's done in San Francisco, right?
Right. Well, one of the games where he's kind of getting out there and he's still obviously hurting, which was last week, where he's spraying the ball all over the place and he's probably not really ready to come back.
Yes. Andrew Daly says, don't forget that there was a missed field goal and a missed extra point.
Yep.
That is correct. And Red Matt says, Shanahan getting the battered corpse of this team to 4-1. The man is clearly a necromancer.
That explains it. He's got that good death magic there. But, you know, the most accurate quarterback takes are always the Friday morning after a Thursday night upset quarterback takes. That's where we get, Nick Mullins, and that's where we get like Marcus Mariota come back and things like that. Settle down. Yeah, I think the right takeaway is, yes, Kyle Shanahan is doing this thing with this team that's going to get healthier. And it's going to be in 6 weeks, have all these banked victories, still be very much at the top of the playoff race, have all these tiebreakers, and then they get not just Purdy back, but Kittle back and Ayuk back, et cetera, et cetera.
We think. I mean, the fact is the 49ers are high in injuries every year. There's nothing that says these guys aren't going to get injured again, because that's just the way 49ers teams are. Right. They seem to be more willing to take chances on guys with weaker bodies, and therefore they end up with more injuries.
Right. The flip side of this, you have this Rams team that, let's assume post-game win expectancy would have gone their way. That's 2 losses.
Yes.
Where they
were the better team by the stats. Yes, because the Eagles won, obviously, because of the block kicks.
Right. And you can look at those games and we can count, the block kicks last night, missed extra points, 4th and 1 stop, etc. The flip side is they're letting these teams into the game. I mean, Eagles are obviously tough, but the Eagles looked like they were looking for a knockout punch from halftime through the third quarter. They stay in the game. Last night, the 49ers came staggering in looking for a knockout punch. Instead, the Rams get outplayed in the first quarter, the first 25 minutes of the game. What is this Rams team that they keep putting themselves in position to lose these games on blocked field goals? Who are they really?
Right. Iceman says, when the kicker is in a slump, you cut the kicker. Who do you cut when place kicking blockers are in a slump? Well, they're offensive linemen, right? I mean,
yeah.
The problem is offensive linemen go out and other offensive linemen come in, and they're maybe not as practiced in field goal blocking, and therefore guys jump over them, and then you have blocks.
Right. Although when I went back after the Eagles game, it was the regular field goal unit. One of which was
Limmer. One of them was Limmer, was a backup, right? Dotson kind of gave up the first one, and then Dotson went out, and then Limmer came in, and Limmer gave up the second one.
I know the guy who gave up the second one had been on the field goal unit for 2 years.
Oh, okay. All right. So not Limmer.
Yeah, it wasn't like Mr. Oh, we had to pull the guy off the practice squad, and that's why he was out there. I don't know. I didn't check last night, so I'd have to look at film and everything else like that. But Cardi seems to have a low trajectory.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, I mean, he does. I mean, that's a good thing on the kickoffs, right? Like, I guess you take the good, you take the bad, right? Like the kickoffs, although he had the one knuckleball at the end there that bounced before the landing zone, and they got the ball on the 40. So,
right,
you take your chance with those knuckleball kicks that you're going to end up giving them the ball on the 40.
Right. We're still gathering the sample because it's like, oh, this is an unbeatable money kickoff. It's like, yes, but there's apparently a risk in it, and we're still gathering the data on that.
Yes, it's only been 4 weeks with the knuckleball kicks. So, I mean, going forward, it's still a really strong. We're going to talk about Seattle later in the show. It's still a really strong division, and it's like I'm not like, oh, the Rams are in trouble. I mean, they're 3-2. They're a really good team. I think they'll be in the playoffs in the long run.
Now I'm looking at the 49ers saying, are they going to manufacture these wins? And are the Rams going to keep doing this? You're right. If you look at the big picture, it's like post-game win expectancy says don't give up on the Rams.
Right.
Because they're playing well enough to win these games. It's just that they're starting to not build the portfolio they need for the playoffs.
Andrew Daly says, if all the kickers have booming legs now, why don't they snap the ball a few yards back on the field goal and sacrifice a few yards to not get blocked? That would be an interesting question on stuff like a 40. I think once you get into the 50s, every yard still counts.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the idea of snapping it more than 8 yards back and making a 40-yard field goal into a 43-yard field goal in order to try to avoid it, it's an interesting question.
Yeah, it seems like you're just telling the long snapper, here's some crazy new thing you have to do, which could result in fumbled snaps and other disasters.
Red Matt said Stafford looked really good last night. His connection with Nakua is insanely good. One of the things I wrote about in my ESPN piece today was Nakua with the all-time record for receptions through 4 games, 42, and he's now at 52 after last night's game. So he is on pace to break the all-time receptions record.
I believe it. By the way, there are big parts of that game, and later on, Stafford looked phenomenal. There were some sprayed passes early. He did not look good early. And I think sometimes with Stafford, he kind of gets into the rhythm of the game. Also, he was facing a depleted, as we went along, 49ers defense as well. But like there was a couple of throws. I said, man, Stafford needs to would really like to have that one back.
Don't forget, of course, if you watch us live, which is normally Mondays and Thursdays at 11 a.m. Eastern, you can make comments and ask questions. And let's talk about some of these Week 5 games. Now, the most important game for playoff odds may surprise you. It is the 1-3 Houston Texans at the 1-3 Baltimore Ravens, a 1 p.m. game. Now, our current simulation has the Texans get in 41% of the time with a win and 18% with a loss. And the Ravens, who are still, have a lot of really strong preseason priors, 79% with a win, 55% with a loss. And I do think that that's fairly accurate because, one, their schedule gets much easier after their bye week.
Right.
And 2, Lamar Jackson should be back after their bye week. And the offense will still be, all these injuries they've suffered on defense, their offense should still be among the strongest in the league with a healthy Lamar Jackson, making them still one of the stronger teams in the league.
And there are rumors swirling that it's not a 2 and 3 week injury for Lamar, but you got to go off of what you've got right now, because obviously if he's gone for the year, he's gone for the year, but that's not what they're saying. Right. So we have to project based on what we're being told, best available info.
The Ravens sort of surprises me in DVOA. Currently are 7th passing and 16th rushing, which you would really think they would be better than that rushing the ball, given some of the Derrick Henry, what we've seen from him this year, but fumbles.
Right.
The Texans defense is currently 9th against the pass and 23rd against the run. So maybe this is a game where you depend more on the run, except with Cooper Rush at quarterback, you no longer have the thing where you always have the danger of Lamar Jackson carrying the ball, and therefore your running game should be less successful.
Right. And we were talking off camera. This is the first time that Lamar Jackson's backup is not a Lamar Jackson cosplayer of some kind. It's not Snoop Huntley or somebody like that. It's a more traditional pocket passer in Cooper Rush.
A couple of Cooper Rush stats I grabbed from last year, because he did play a lot last year for Dallas.
Yes.
He was better throwing up the middle than to the sides.
CD and Jake.
Texans defense is currently 12th against middle passes.
Okay.
Which for the Ravens is Mark Andrews and Zay
right.
Flowers.
And Flowers doing the little things across the middle. And the Texans had to, get rid of one of their safeties, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, because he's cuckoo nanners.
Everybody wants to say, hey, I'll take a chance on cuckoo nanners. Cooper Rush was 5th in the league last year in the smallest difference between pressured and unpressured. But lest you think that is a quality quarterback stat, number 1 was Aiden O'Connell, and number 2 was Bryce Young. But number 4 was Josh Allen, and number 6 was Patrick Mahomes.
So it's either you're always really good or you're always just down in bleh, and it doesn't matter much because you're always down in bleh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rush killed the blitz last year, but the Texans are not a team that needs to blitz.
They don't have to, right?
Right, because their pass rush will get there with 4. Michael Allen Brewer says, wait, don't they just pass Mariota around to back up whichever rushing quarterback is getting injured next?
he's like a little joint.
The Ravens are also currently 8th in offense overall, but 31st in the red zone. I think that may be one of the reasons why DVOA likes them better than their actual results, is that they've really struggled to get the ball into the end zone in the red zone, which isn't likely to continue. Even with Cooper Rush at quarterback, is not likely to continue.
Right. Either Derrick Henry has really gone off the deep end, or he should come back too. And of course, one of his fumbles was a red zone fumble.
Looking up the Ravens defense, I'll point out so far, 4 games only, obviously, 24th against number 1 wideouts, and Houston has a pretty good number 1 wideout.
Yes, that's pretty much all they have on offense is a pretty good number 1 wideout, but they have him. And the injury report is just a disaster area in terms of figuring out who's where. I'm just going to read the Jamison Hensley, longtime beat writer for the Ravens, his tweet from yesterday. Of the 11 Pro Bowlers from 2024, 5 did not practice Thursday. That's Jackson, safety Kyle Hamilton, cornerback Marlon Humphrey, who's been slumping, linebacker Roquan Smith, who's critical, and fullback Patrick Ricard. 3 were limited with injuries: Ronnie Stanley, Tyler Linderbaum, and Kyle Van Noy. If Stanley is unavailable, that's all she wrote, I think, tomorrow, honestly. And 1, of course, is out for the year, Nnamdi Madubuike. So it's as bad an injury report as you can ask for. Texans, meanwhile, is relatively clean. Derek Stingley has been not practicing, but then has been playing as much as he possibly can during games. So that's the only significant Texans injury. And
the line is Texans -2. And I think the Ravens are in real trouble. I think the Ravens could start 1-5. And I think the Ravens could start 1-5 and make the playoffs anyway.
If it's 1-5, this is not quite a knockout punch, but it could be a knockout punch. I keep looking for an excuse to do the backup quarterback first start. But I need to, if I'm doing that, I need to see Ronnie Stanley and Linderbaum and Van Noy and some of the other guys in the lineup. And if I see any indication that they're not there, forget about it. Just take the Texans.
Denver at Philadelphia is another really good 1 p.m. game.
Yes.
That's the one we're getting in New England, I know. Broncos make the playoffs 70% of the time with a win, 50% of the time with a loss. And the Eagles, 88% with a win, 73% with a loss, which again still looks too low.
Right.
Especially considering that their next 3 games after this, the Eagles have 2 against the Giants.
2 against the Giants. And you have this Commanders team that has a lot of injuries up and down their injury report. That doesn't necessarily factor into this.
Can the Broncos run on the Eagles? Because the Eagles are only 21st in run defense so far. And I know there's a number of injuries on the Eagles defense.
Right.
The Eagles are currently number 1 against short passes.
Oh, yeah.
Quentin Mitchell, there are a lot of injuries on their injury report, but Quentin Mitchell and Cooper DeJean have been excellent this year. And Bo Nix is having problems actually with both short and deep passes.
Yeah. His Monday night performance was to wait until the Bengals just sort of surrendered, and then he kind of found his stride. Yeah, Dijon has been excellent. Mitchell has been excellent. Bond continues to be excellent, especially in the passing game, not just as a blitzer, but as a coverage underneath. And you know what the Broncos like to do. They want to get the ball underneath in space, try to generate yak. They've started to get their yak game going in the last 2 weeks, but it's still, flip it to
And
heart.
Mims is a little hurt.
Mims is a little bit hurt. Otherwise, their injury report is kind of okay. Eagles during the week, Lane Johnson, Dallas Goedert, and Jalen Carter in limited various states of limited. I think they'll all play. Carter's worth watching because his shoulders are very much messed up. He could be out there at 70%.
Yeah, that's an example of sort of why adjusted games lost works, because guys will be listed as questionable and they'll play, but they won't play at 100%.
Right.
When they're looking at the Broncos on defense, a couple of things I noted. They're currently 30th against running backs as receivers. That's not a good thing against the Eagles because Saquon.
Right. And the Eagles started to use Saquon effectively last week as a receiver.
They excel against middle passes, which is not something that matters very much against the Eagles because they don't pass the middle a lot. The Broncos played more man coverage last year than any other defense, and the Eagles' offense last year was much better against man coverage than zone coverage.
Part of it is when that gives Jalen Hurts more opportunities to take off and run. That helps.
That helps, definitely. But also their receivers are good at getting open against man coverage.
Yes, and also we did have a therapy session, a group therapy with AJ Brown later in the week where he talked to the reporters and discussed his feelings and opened up about things. And he seems to be in an okay place right now. So we talked on Monday about about his biblical tweet that seems to have been subsided as being smoothed over.
Oh, good. So he's out of the diva house.
He's out of the diva zone. I did not realize he was quoting Jesus.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I missed the reference that he was quoting Jesus, who used to always complain when he didn't get the ball.
Yes. The line is Eagles -3.5, and the system has no pick. That's a pretty good line for where the Broncos and the Eagles are now, plus what we kind of knew about them before the season. The Broncos actually, despite being 2-2, are higher in DVOA than the Eagles so far.
Wow.
But given what we knew about the Eagles before the season, I think we all feel the Eagles are a better team, and they're at home. But how much of a better team? I think 3.5 is a pretty accurate line.
3.5 is an accurate line. It's kind of like the Goddard line. I'm assuming we'll see Lane. We're going to see Carter. If we don't see Goddard, that might be the tipping point to say, well, the Eagles can get upset at home because their offense is so not diverse against a good defense. If Goddard's available, I'd lean towards the Eagles being able to take care of business.
Yeah, the funny thing is we talk about thinking teams are going to cover these lines with a hook, but this feels like the kind of line where if you don't think the Broncos can win outright, don't bet the Broncos.
Right. It's more of a money line pick. If you like the Broncos, take the money line. Don't think they're gonna back to whatever.
4 p.m. There's a couple of good games. Unfortunately, a couple of them are 4:05 games on the network that doesn't. I don't remember which network has the doubleheader this week, but there are 4:05 games on the network that doesn't have the doubleheader, so they're going to be kind of hidden.
I hate those.
And one of them is Tampa Bay 3-1 at Seattle 3-1.
That is a 4:05 start.
Yes, that's a 4:05, not a 4:25.
Yeah, that's awful.
Well, I mean, if they had more time, if it was later in the season, they probably would have switched them.
They would have switched them, exactly. So instead, you get Lions-Bengals as a 4:25.
Buccaneers, 85% of the time, they make the playoffs with a win, 67% with a loss. Seahawks, 76% with a win, 52% with a loss. I'm going to preempt you by saying there are 16 Buccaneers on this week's injury report, not counting the people that are already on injured reserve.
You did preempt me there. Now, Baker Mayfield was a DNP on Wednesday. He returned to practice. To give you guys some of the highlights, Jamal Dean, cornerback, important player, did not practice. Mike Evans, hamstring, did not practice. Bucky Irving is seeing specialists about both a foot and a shoulder injury, did not practice. Benjamin Morrison, rookie cornerback, who would be more important with Dean's absence, did not practice. Tyke Smith, safety, who does a lot of the blitz.
A lot of nickelback, was very good in coverage DVOA last year.
Very good in coverage DVOA and is one of the sneaky blitzy Bulls guys. Did not practice ankle. Messed up injury report.
Tampa's 3 wins, says Andrew Daly, came by a combined 6 points.
Yep.
Yeah, I believe they're only 19th in DVOA right now. Seahawks offense is currently second in the league passing, which is remarkable.
That
Because
is.
it's basically one guy, Jackson Smith-Njigba.
Yeah.
They're 19th running. I thought this was a real reversal from last year, but actually they were only 19th running the ball last year, but they were 17th passing. So the passing game has been much better this year. Darnold throws in the middle of the field 27% of the time, which is kind of high, and that has been a weakness for the Buccaneers this year.
Right, with all those injuries, that seems like, especially Tyke, that could be an injury. It feels like the Seahawks, they want to be this running team, but when they run the ball, you've got the Kenneth Walker bounce everything all over creation experience, and then they set up this play action game, and the play action game is super efficient, and that's how they are being effective passing the game.
Buccaneers offense is currently 13th passing and only 29th rushing, and Bucky Irving is out.
And he's out, and he was helpful both in that short game. He was very helpful in the short game. He had a long catch too against the Eagles. So you're going to be seeing more of Rachaad White, and I forget who the other guy is. It's still Sean Tucker.
Still Sean Tucker.
Right. Quick Seahawks injury report note though: Devin Witherspoon, Julian Love, and DeMarcus Lawrence were all out midweek. The one that they are worried about is Tank Lawrence, quadricep injury, and that might be a sort of a day-to-day game time decision.
I will say that Seattle's defense is number one this year. And I was just asked on a Vegas radio show whether I think we saw that coming. And the projections didn't see it coming, but the subjective story, you could see it coming because the idea was McDaniel in Baltimore, not McDaniel, what's his name?
McDonald. Yeah.
McDonald in Baltimore. His defense took a year for everybody to learn it, and then it improved significantly. And given the way Seattle improved in the second half last year, that would roll over and that everybody learned his defense now. And that does seem to have what happened because it's not like they have a lot of players that you're like, oh, wow, those are Boye Mafe, man.
Right. Derek Hall.
Amazing. Nwosu, right? I mean, like they're good players and everything, but number one on defense. Currently number one against number one wide receivers. Number one against passes in the middle of the field. Number two against deep passes. So they're doing a lot of really good things on defense, and I really like Seattle in this game. I realize we just watched San Francisco win with a wrecked injury report, and so here we are going, oh, Baltimore's screwed and Tampa Bay is screwed. But the injury report is really bad for Tampa Bay, and it's not like the 49ers really outplayed the Rams. Like, I think the line is Seahawks minus 3.5. Like, I really feel like the Seahawks are going to win this.
I feel the same way. And you can't say, well, since this thing happened Thursday night, it's going to continue happening. These banged up teams are in trouble, and it does require a lot of things to break right to get that kind of upset. So, yeah, I like the Seahawks in this one, too.
Speaking of injured teams, this is the big national most of the nation is getting. Washington Commanders 2-2 at the 3-1 LA Chargers at 4 p.m. Commanders make the playoffs 65% with a win, 43% with a loss.
Wow,
Chargers 84% with a win, 68% with a loss. No McLaurin or Noah Brown, but Jaden Daniels should be back.
Jaden Daniels should be back. Debo was also on the injury report, so that bears watching. And cornerback Mike Sainstrell is on the injury report. They do not have a lot of bodies in the secondary in Washington that they can go out there and lose.
And one of the things we actually wrote about, I think we wrote about a little bit in the book, was that while our projection for Washington was very high, that this was not a team with great depth. And if injuries hit them, they were in trouble. And injuries have hit them, in particular at wide receiver, where you have the cascade effect. If there's no McLaurin, Noah Brown is now the 2. If Noah Brown is out now, someone else.
Jalen Lane and McCaffrey. Right?
Yeah, Luke McCaffrey, I think.
Luke McCaffrey, right. And you're doing that. And then you have injuries. And then you also have the Marshawn Lattimore. Oops, it looks like you got a lemon. You got an injury pro lemon, and he's not.
Yeah, unfortunately. I'm the one who's been like, Lattimore's always been a little underrated. Lattimore was really good before he got hurt last year. we still maybe getting after Hurt Lattimore, and he's not good this year. He's getting picked on a lot.
He's getting picked on, and the other guys aren't great either. Sainstroll's the one who usually is getting the job done. Chargers injury report. Alt did not practice. He's out. Let's face it. They're being a little bit coy.
Yeah, he's out for a few weeks.
Yeah, and Mekhi Becton is working his way back from a concussion. He was a limited practice on the side, usually with concussions. That means he's trending towards playing.
Both the Washington offense and the Chargers defense have been particularly strong in the red zone this year, so something will have to give.
The Chargers offense and the
Washington offense and the Chargers defense.
Okay, they both been strong. Interesting.
So something will have to give there. And both the Washington offense and the Chargers defense have been weaker on third downs. So something will have to give.
I don't have a lot of faith in the Commanders' offense right now because of these injuries. So
right, even though there will be Daniels.
There will be Daniels. And I guess in the red zone, Daniels with a read option threat with their backs. That's
Ertz and yeah. Chargers, one of the NFL's top users of zone coverage. Washington, much better in zone coverage than against man last year. So that might be interesting to watch.
Okay.
By the way, going back to Seattle, Divine Comedy, who seems very angry this morning, says that we're disrespecting players like Leonard Williams.
Okay, that's
that we don't know who the defensive tackle in football is, do we? Well, I mean,
to be fair, that we should have called out Leo Williams.
Yeah, okay, and Devin Witherspoon. It's not like Seattle doesn't have any players. But
by the way, Byron Murphy, man, how come you're not mentioning?
Yeah,
Byron
Murphy's playing very well this year. Byron Murphy the second. I love the best of Divine Comedy record. By the way, it's a good album. The line is Chargers minus 2.5.
Okay.
The system likes the Commanders basically based on the preseason priors. I think I like the Chargers. If the line was 3 or 3.5, I'd be like,
yeah. Right. My Chargers faith is never high.
Yeah.
I never high, but then I look at this Commander's injury report. I'm just probably going to steer away from this as we get
the pass rush that can really take advantage of the Joe Alt injury.
Right. This isn't the team built for that. It's not like the Texans bringing 2 guys off the edge or whatever. Even the Giants bringing 2 guys screaming off the edge. We'll gather information about what that Chargers line looks like, and we'll gather information what the Commanders offense looks like when it's so depleted.
Andrew Daly says, speaking of what other Sunday day game, are you still betting the Saints this week? I got a bit shook by Rattler's insanely low average yards per attempt.
Well, it's not like I believe in Rattler in any great idea. I'm just, I think that the Giants without Malik Neighbors are going to have this Jackson Dart bump is not going to last long.
I think the Giants are only favored by 2 anyway.
It's not much.
Yeah, it's not like Vegas is really believing in them over the Saints either.
Right. I know the Saints have some offensive line injuries. If it's only Ruiz, if that's the only one I'm looking at, I'm probably taking them. Garbage.
Night game. 2-2 New England at 4-0 Buffalo. Yeah. Patriots make the playoffs 64% of the time if they win this game, 35% if they lose. Bills 99% with a win. 96% with a loss. I tweeted this out this morning on all the social medias. Based on the current DVOA ratings, which, could change, the Patriots and Bills currently have the 3rd and 13th easiest schedules in DVOA history.
Wow.
The Patriots only play 2 games against teams that are currently in the top 12. That's the Bills twice. The Bills only play 2 games against teams currently in the top 12, Kansas City and Philadelphia.
Yeah, after that, their third hardest thing is
Baltimore and Cincinnati. Having the injuries they've had has made the schedules much easier for these 2 teams.
Right.
And Tampa Bay has not been as good as we expected, and that makes the schedules look a little easier for these teams. So the Bills are absolutely positively going to the playoffs, and the Patriots very well may be going to the playoffs.
Right. They're the beneficiaries in all this. The schedule gets easier. We look at the Bengals falling off the wayside. These opportunities for wild cards come in. I did notice I looked at the Patriots schedule and I look at the Raiders schedule and the Panthers schedule. And it was like all the little last place teams that like we wanted to adopt in the preseason are all playing each other early in the season.
Yeah.
Right. So everybody kind of gets a win or two here or there where you look at it, it's like, okay, who have you played? Who have you played? For the Patriots, it's almost like going to continue as the Jets fall off. The Dolphins do whatever they're doing without Tyreek, etc. And that's going to be their whole schedule.
The Patriots are currently 8th passing and 24th rushing.
Really?
And the defense for the Bills is the same, much better against the pass than against the run. So either this is a get-right game for the Patriots run game or it's a get-right game for the Bills run defense.
Right. The Bills run defense has not looked good. It could be a get-right game because Milano and Oliver were back at practice this week.
The Patriots are also much better on 3rd and 4th down than they are overall, which is, I think, why Drake May does better in EPA measures than he does in DVOA.
Okay.
I think because EPA gives more value to 3rd and 4th downs than DVOA does, because DVOA sees them as not necessarily quite as sustainable as 1st and 2nd downs. So it doesn't give like extra credit. But obviously for EPA, converting on 3rd and 4th downs is a really big deal. So,
right.
So Drake May comes out. That's why Drake May comes out better in the EPA stuff than DVOA.
I saw a couple examples of it. I haven't really broke it down. Is this sort of Josh McDaniels, throw it in front of the sticks and let the guy yak it? Because I've seen
there's a good amount of that, yeah.
Right. Get in there and break a tackle or two, which is I think a very viable strategy in today's NFL. McDaniels uses that a lot to try and.
Yeah, we thought there'd be a lot of Pop Douglas because of that, and there hasn't. But there has been a lot of Hunter Henry.
Mm-hmm. Right. Catch the ball in space, get up there. Maybe it'll be 4th and inches, or maybe you'll get the conversion by breaking a tackle.
But the Patriots defense is currently 28th against the pass.
Okay.
They're 8th against the run, but they're 28th against the pass.
And they haven't played any quarterback.
And they haven't played anybody. Worst red zone defense in the league so far this year. The line is Bills -8.
Yeah, that line has moved all over the Lord's creation, man. It's been like up at 10.5. And then it moved. I think it went all the way up. I don't know. It's been everywhere based on the injury reports. 8's right where I'm comfortable with the Bills.
Yeah, I think I like the Bills to cover. I think at home they'll
right.
An interesting one the system likes is under 49.5.
Interesting.
Sort of a counterintuitive under, I think.
Counterintuitive, but the Bills, they take these leads and they sit around and they sit around and they sit around on these leads like they don't.
Right, which would suggest, I think, Patriots +8 and under.
Yeah, I think that's where if it was 9.5 or 10, I'd be like, oh, just take the Patriots, take that backdoor cover. You've had 2 straight backdoor covers with the Bills playing with their food. 8 is right on that cusp where it's like, yeah, 30-22 final.
I mean, our system has the Bills as the prohibitive Super Bowl favorites this year. Like they're at like 25% or something because their top 2 competitors in the AFC are the 2-2 Chiefs and the 1-3 Ravens.
Right. Who have these hard
schedules. Just the Bills and their Bills schedule is so easy. They're so hooked into that number 1 seed at this point.
Right.
It would be very hard for them to lose it.
It would be hard to lose it. Yeah, because again, the simulations are running it over and over again. And it's not just how good the Bills are; it's how all these other factors play in. And the Bills are in their own little corner. They're like, we're not going to lose this division.
Oh, you get to play the Panthers. Oh, you get to play the Saints.
Right.
Well, we played the Saints already, but you know what I'm saying.
Right.
All right, that does it for today's show. Want to thank everybody for listening. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to review the show and give us 5 stars and tell all your friends about the show. And to read miketanier.substack.com and to read all the DVOA content at FTN. Brian Knowles wrote today about interception versus turnover-worthy throws. And Tyler Lochner wrote about why wide receiver 1s have been having a problem so far this year compared to wide receiver 2s, which is sort of interesting.
Not Puka, everybody else.
And we'll be back on Monday at 11 a.m. to review all of these games and preview Chiefs-Jaguars.
Yeah.
Which is a really good Monday night game.
Right. Instead of 2 bad ones, we get 1 good one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think a pretty good Thursday nighter too. I think the primetime games are good this week.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. That does it for the show, folks. We'll talk to you on Monday. So long, everybody.